Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
This world is changing more and more every day, and we've decided to change right along with it. My name is Dr. Lauren Michaels Harris, and I'm the president of Trajectory TV Network. At Trajectory, our vision is to provide a creative platform for top content creators and storytellers from around the globe. We're also dedicated to providing this world with content that is healing, educational, empowering, exciting, and above all else, entertaining and transparent. So right now, I invite all of you who believe yourselves to be global game changers to use the link found here and simply take a chance. Schedule a virtual chat where you'll have the opportunity to share your vision for your very own global television show with me, the network president. So use that link, and together, let's begin changing and healing this world, one story at a time. And remember, whether you have years of experience in front of the camera or zero experience, it doesn't matter. What matters the most is your desire to share great content through television and a willingness to share it with passion and with purpose. You might ask, how do I know if I've fallen in love with my purpose and my purpose has fallen in love with me? It's easy when you've lost your voice because you just can't stop talking about it. I'll see you soon.
Shamelessly displaying my state of mind.
I've got rhythm. I've got music. Who could I score at anything? Why am I feeling so community theater-ish today? It's because I'm on one. I'm feeling myself today because I'm so excited about our guest. There she is. I already told you guys about it. I've been telling you almost every day about this one. I'm so excited that Dr. Kalpana Sundar is here, the real one, because I found another one parading around social media this morning. I'm like, you are not the. That's what you need, Dr. Kalpana, the Kalpana Sundar. You know how people say the Britney Spears, like there's really two. Anyway, I'm so happy to be here because you're here, I'm here, and together we are enacting. Hey, wait a minute. My there. Okay. Sorry, Karma Core. It's one of the sponsors. Don't get paid if you don't do it. So anyway, I am so excited to be here with you because we together are enacting one of the most wonderful, fulfilling promises given to us, provided to us by the universe, and that is where two or more of us comes together. This is a divine moment in time, not just some happenstance moment. It is a divine moment. So let's get to it. Listen, today, as in every day here, when you hear the bell ring, it is not a prop, not a show gimmick. It is an opportunity. Okay. A reminder that the truth, just like that bell, well, it has a ring to it. And I know you're busy. I know you're getting ready for your big Thursday. Is it Thursday? What day is it? Wednesday. It's hump day. Yeah, it's hump day. Okay. I was like, what happened to Wednesday? 61. It happens. Don't worry. And all of you going, oh, it's a senior moment. You having junior moments. You just don't call them that yet. You'll see. You think walking in that room, what I come in here for? Just watch when you're going, where's my house? And somebody's like, go right down there, turn left. Okay. Just saying. So anyway, welcome to the show, my sidekick. This is my version of Ed McMahon, Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo, and she's been here every day, well, almost every day, for the last 7 years. So let's get to it, shall we? You guys know we are in the midst of, let me get that up there. We are in the midst of the RPXP experience takeover. See that? Yes, that is what it is happening up in here. I'm going to put the postage stamp up there. I was there along with a great group of people, I think just about a month ago now. And our guest today was there as well. And I met her and she poured into us like so many. Yesterday, we had Christopher Gandy, the tax wizard here. And every day for the next 2 weeks. So it's really 13 days straight, 13 shows in a row where you're going to be meeting wonderful people. Tomorrow, Stephanie Zito is in the house, and she too, I know I have it here somewhere. Yeah, we have Stephanie's book, and so you're going to get to know about that tomorrow. But today is all about Dr. Kalpana Sundar, and here is her book, Beauty Unbound. And I am going to start things off by no, I'm not. I was going to wait because I need her here for that. I have an excerpt I want to read. But I thought she's a little famous in her neck of the woods down in Florida. Today, she happens to be on the road traveling and is in Atlanta, down in the dirty South. Hello, where everything in Atlanta is peach something, peach street, peach this, peach that. And I'm going to tell you something. Atlanta, I love y'all. Power We 2021 was there. But you guys, your stoplights last longer than any I've ever seen in the whole world. You're at a stoplight like 20 minutes. I took a nap one time at a stoplight and woke up and we were still in the red zone. So anyway, I wanted to show you a little something I found because, remember I told you I found that other doctor. We won't mention her, but I found the real one on she's a regular for the Jacksonville Buzz. So you know how some people are authorities and they call them in on the news all the time. Take a look at this.
Going to continue in part 3 of the series with Dr. Sundar, and we're talking today about navigating with clarity.
I want to hear her say my name.
Women in medicine. So, good morning once again.
Good morning.
Always a pleasure to see you. So, you're basically talking about burnout.
Yes.
What is burnout?
So burnout is something that I experienced, which is why I feel so passionate about talking about it to women in medicine. It's when you have this, emotional or physical exhaustion, which leads to decreased work productivity and also a loss of identity.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, terrible.
Is this common with the physicians?
Yes, it's so common, and many times physicians don't even see it coming. You don't even know it's happening to you until it's way far gone.
What do you do?
So I think the big thing is really just understanding and being aware that you're going through a process or heading towards burnout. So it's important to just know where you are, so that at least if you understand where you are, you know where you want to get to, you can create a path.
Now, you guys, is not her voice just buttery? Right. When I hear her voice, I don't say caramel, I say caramel. Right. So guess what? Here she comes to tell us all about Beauty Unbound, breaking free and living unapologetically. And boy, well, wait a minute. I forgot to tell you this too. Listen to this. Are you ready for this? She is, wait a minute, I gotta find it again. A board certified, and she didn't just walk away from it, but she moved away from it for other things, bigger pastures, if you will. So she is a board certified physician and surgeon, entrepreneur, and a master certified professional coach. Master certified professional coach. Now, she communicates and educates to empower professional women to reclaim control over their professional and private lives, present and future. So without further ado, let's get her up in here. Now, you know what we do? She's never been here. Put your hearts on the screen. It's our virtual way of standing to our feet, wrapping some love around this experience, because here she comes, Beauty Unbound author, Dr. Kalpana Sundar. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm just going to say it off the rip. If that lady at that news station, The Buzz, what didn't have that, because you just can't outdo those British accents. I want to hear her say my name, because she tore yours up. But if it wasn't her, you probably would have gotten offered the job. They would have replaced whoever was interviewing you with you, because your voice is it's just perfect for the airwaves. And I just want to tell you that. So,
well, thank you.
and I know you had a dream of being on television when you were a kid, right? And then you went down a different path, and we're going to get to that. But sometimes paths don't go straight down the road. They go in a circle and bring you back to your original. So it still could happen, right?
That's right.
So look, here's what we do here. I'm going to dip out for just about 60 seconds and let you just have a moment to create your own vibe with the audience. Fill in anything, because I didn't read your whole bio. I'd rather they hear it from you. Why don't you start us off in the direction you'd like us to go today, and then I'll pop back in and we'll take it from there. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay, all you, take it away.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's so nice to be here. I'm in Atlanta right now, and I am really living my life unbound. So unbound is a concept that I kind of came up with to describe where I wanted to be in my life, where we start to let go of things that don't serve our highest purpose. So for me, although I was a board certified physician and a surgeon, I didn't believe that was my highest purpose. And I knew that that time for me had come to an end. So it was time to change courses and start doing things differently. And in my book, I describe a good portion of that process. I would say I'm still undergoing the process of becoming unbound to things that don't serve me. But I started with a very big step in my life. I was married for almost 24 years, and I just didn't feel like that was where I needed to be anymore. I felt like I'd lost myself, and I felt that it was time to find out who I really was, because all my life I had planted myself in positions to make other people happy, live out other people's dreams. And at the age of 48, I realized that it was really time for me to live my own dreams out and pursue my purpose. And what the higher purpose was at that moment, when I knew that it wasn't medicine, I didn't really know what it was. So the last 5, 6 years of this journey have been about figuring that out and being unapologetic in that process as well.
Wow. Boy, you hit it right on the 1 minute mark too.
Perfect.
Wow. You might also have a future in pageants because you can get in and say those things and world peace.
I can do that. World
right.
peace.
Okay. Wow. So first off, I am just at the event, the RPXP, 3 medical doctors who walked away from that dream life that so many people, when you hear, oh, he married a doctor or she married a doctor, it's, oh, her dad's a doctor. You know how it was before you became one, right? You guys know. And then all 3 of you that we met out there, that I met, walked away from it. Just unimaginable to many of us. But I want to start there if we could. I know it's down the road a piece, but I want to start there because there are so many people that haven't spent all those years studying and preparing and all that pressure from family. Because, in your book, because I read it, the pressure from your family about being a doctor and whatnot. And then you have to, think about it. All your mom's friends. Oh, my daughter. Then all of a sudden she's got to tell them, well, how's your daughter, the surgeon? Fine. Anyway, lovely earrings, Ruth. You know what I'm saying? Anything to change the subject. But there are a lot of people. My point is this: there are a lot of us who are stuck in things that we didn't go to school for 100 years or so. It felt that we didn't choose it because somebody pressured us or there was that family thing or that cultural thing. We just are there and we're stuck. Now, when did you start thinking about, I don't think I'm feeling this anymore? And did you think you were crazy, losing your mind? And then segue right into, who did you tell first that you were deciding to leave medicine?
Well, those are great questions. I would say that from residency, I went into my own practice. So that was a big, courageous leap right there because I didn't really know how to, really operate and run a practice. But I did know that I wasn't the person to run things in the way everybody else wanted to run things. So I had interviewed with a bunch of different practices and finally decided that I think I'd like to create it on my own, according to my own vision. So that's how I started. So probably about 7 years into it, maybe it was a 7-year itch, I don't know, but around 7 years into
They
it.
say that's a real thing.
They say it's a real thing. So it happened really in my career. And I started to feel dissatisfied. And it was because several changes started to happen within medicine. When I first started, I was able to spend a lot of time with my patients and really counsel them on wellness and well being. And I was able to spend a lot of time with them. I liked that. That was the reason that I went into medicine because I felt I was really making a difference in people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
Well, over the years, there was a lot of shifts, meaning that the insurance companies took over more and more. They started to put more stipulations. And bottom line is the end result of that was that I had to see people fast. When I started having to see patients so much faster, it was less enjoyable for me. It was less enjoyable for them. And that's about the time where something started to shift for me. And I felt that there was maybe something else I wanted to do. Now, that's not so easy when you're in medicine and when you're in your own practice. And I felt bound. That was the first time that I felt bound and stuck. I didn't know, number one, what would I do if I left medicine? Am I even qualified to do anything else? Number two, I had big medical school loans to pay off. So if I left medicine, how on earth would I pay off those loans?
Yeah.
Big time stuff,
How indeed.
And then last but not least, who am I? I mean, these are the questions that are going through my mind at this moment. But so several more years went by. I was not in a position to really make any changes. My children were young, going through school. So that was just not an option. So I stuffed it inside and just kind of kept going along with my life. But then there came a point where I knew you could feel it in your body that you have to do this or you just can't go on anymore. I started feeling that somewhere around the 18, 19-year mark. And at that point, my children were grown and I had a feeling that I could probably, I don't know, somehow figure it out. COVID happened And it felt like the right time to just leave. So, because there was already an interruption in my practice and
Yeah.
patients and things, and I thought maybe this is a sign that this is the right time to go. I didn't, it was just everything was crazy anyway. So that's when I just took the leap of faith and just decided to not go back.
It's I'm sitting here listening, and while you're talking, I'm like imagining. I wonder if it felt like when a person had a great car and they couldn't afford it anymore and it got repossessed, or when a person lives in a big, beautiful home and the mortgage gets to be too much and they have to downsize, and how people look at you like, oh, what happened to that big fancy car? Oh, why are you in a Prius now? As they look, oh, it's cute. You know what I'm saying? Talk about, well, because you just hit on where you found the strength to do what you did. But then for a lot of people, I know for me, it'd be like, how long did it take for the questions to stop? And did people around you in your sacred circle think you were losing your mind? Did you question your own mental health as far as this kind of a decision? It's not the thing somebody does every day, Kalpana. It's just not. So how did you deal with all of that while still making this big move?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I still question my sanity on a regular basis. I think
I,
it's important to check in with
okay.
oneself and
Join the
just
club,
question
sister.
that daily.
Right?
But the real thing was it was tough. So much of what I was talking about being unbound is letting go of what doesn't serve your higher purpose, and that at that point I knew I was going to lose a lot of people in my life that I thought were there for me, and they didn't understand. They didn't understand what happened to the big house and why I sold it. And before the leaving medicine, I actually was getting a divorce. So it was, I think the timeline was probably about 3 years or 4 years after my divorce was when I left medicine. It was around that time frame. So of course, people already thought I was crazy because I was leaving a marriage of almost 24 years,
Mm.
and that seemed ridiculous. And then leaving medicine, really, everybody had thought I lost my mind 100%. And this is what they start saying is that you're a midlife crisis. Are you
Oh,
having a
yeah.
midlife crisis? And I say, you know what? I'm not having a midlife crisis. I'm having a midlife awakening
See,
because now I'm awake.
there you go. So today, when you picture or imagine or manifest or you see the you of say 10 years from now, what do you see? What do you see yourself doing?
I see myself doing more of this. I love talking about my story and inspiring others to really seize what they really want to do in their life and make it a reality. I see inspiring women in particular because I feel like we have challenges that, well, obviously I understand better because I am a woman,
Right.
to really live their life in the best way, to feel fulfilled and not accept mediocrity. I feel the society trains us early on, not just women, men and women, just to accept mediocrity. I can't tell you how many times I heard, "You're a surgeon. You're a board certified surgeon. How could you want anything else out of life?" And I thought, well, I actually do. I mean, that was a portion of my life, and I am grateful for it. I've learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself. I was able to help some people and really make a difference in their lives. But what is that it for me? I mean, life is long, thank goodness, or God willing. I have a lot more that I want to say and do. And this just was a portion of my experience that has shaped who I am at this point in my life.
Do you feel, oh, let me ask you, I bet you no one's asked you this one, but you're board certified, and
Mhm.
do you keep your license uh current just in case, like a backup, or if you get an itch to just go and cut on somebody, you know? You know what I mean? You know what I'm
Well,
saying? Because that's a big deal. And when you were shaking your head, so I'm assuming you do keep it going. And how do you justify that? Is it like, well, I'm 98% sure I made the right decision and I want to just keep it there? Or just explain that.
so I do keep my license active because it's so hard to get it reenacted if you lose it.
If you
I'm licensed actually in multiple states because I do some consulting work, some medical consulting work. I enjoy that portion of it. So I keep my licenses up because of that. And I have 20 something years of experience in the field. So it's nice to be able to utilize that. But I like doing it in the way that I'm doing it as far as consulting work. Would I ever go back to medicine? I don't think so. I'm 100% sure on that. And then secondly, if you go back to medicine after having such a hiatus, I've already been out for a few years, you can't just start operating on somebody. You need to, I've been out of practice now.
things have changed.
Things have changed. I've been out of practice. It's not something that I plan to do, but I really do enjoy the consulting work. It allows me to be anywhere, which is something that I realize now also kept me bound. My practice was in one physical location. So I felt shackled to that location. And whenever I left and whenever I went away or, on vacation or something, it was amazing because I literally felt like I was still one hand shackled to that practice and what was going on. I never felt free.
Wow. Here I want to bring up a topic I was kind of ear hustling, which is eavesdropping. When we were in the RPXP mansion, and I couldn't believe what I was hearing, but I didn't want to butt in, but I knew you were going to come on the show, so I waited. I can swear I heard you talking about the fact that as a woman, you were doing the same surgeries, oftentimes better than your male counterparts, and not getting paid the same, let alone more, for being better. What is that all about? I don't know what made me think it did not happen at that level, but what is that? Why are men paid more in medicine than women? I didn't know that was a thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, it really is. And there's still so much inequality when it comes to the pay gap within the genders, which is still surprising, especially in a surgeon level. So, number one, if you take on a job with a practice, often women will get paid 30% less. I'm not sure if that's the most recent statistic, but the last time I looked, it was about 30% less. So that's significant, number one. Number two, I was in my own practice. So I had a little bit of a different problem because I worked for myself. So
Yeah.
my pay was really based on how many the patients I saw and the pay from the insurance companies. The way this situation works with the insurance companies is that the bigger group of physicians that you actually have more power against the insurance companies to negotiate what they call an insurance contract. So if it's just one person and I say, I'd like to get paid more, they say, we don't care. This is what we're paying you. That's what happens. So every year that I was in medicine, I was better and better at doing what I was doing. But every year, the insurance companies would come back and cut your rates. And as a physician, I couldn't fight back because my only option was to either join a bigger group, which I didn't want to do, join a hospital sort of group, again, which I didn't want to do, or deal with it. So those are your options.
So you know how when we graduated from high school and whatnot, we have reunions. Do doctors have medical school reunions?
Actually, my school doesn't actually have a reunion. I think it's based on each individual school. My sister's a physician too, and they just had a reunion. So my school, I haven't even seen anything about a reunion. However, we do have a conference every 2 years that we all go and renew our, do all our CME credits. So that's where what I consider my mini reunion, because I get to see my med school colleagues there, and we're all there at the same place, same time, getting all our continuing medical education credits. So we do our reunion then.
So what about your peers? And if let me just give you a disclaimer: if the internet kicks me off, you keep going. They can still hear and see you, and I'm watching on the phone too. So
okay,
just run with it. But let me ask you, how do you? Because let's talk about ego. Let's talk about the sense of loss, questioning our decisions after the fact, because you're never going to run out of people that are going to see you after years of absence, being in absentia, and then they're going to come in and go, hey, are you still in practice? Oh, hey, girl. Da, 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 da. Do you have a pat answer? How do you respond? And what is the short answer you give them when they say, what? You're not practicing? What do you tell them? And because I have a feeling it's not just I got tired of it. I think you are throwing something in there to leave them with something to think about in their own world in case they're not happy. So talk about that if you could.
Well, I basically tell them that I left medicine to pursue my higher purpose, which is speaking professionally all over the world and creating my own retreats for women and to inspire them to live their life unbound.
Wow. So when it comes to easing suffering in the world, do you feel that this new you, um, what makes you, how do you, what is it? What is the litmus test for you to believe I can do more as far as easing suffering from this part two of me than I was at part one? That's a huge, the reason I keep going there, Kalpana, Dr. Kalpana, is because it's such a huge decision, but one that so many can't find the courage to make or take. They can't take that chance, and you did. And I know. So the beauty, let's go there. The beauty that's unbound. I don't think you're talking physical.
No, it was a play on words because I was in the aesthetic industry for so long as well. Because I'm within my ear, nose, and throat practice, I had an aesthetics practice in med spa. So I focused a lot on beauty. And so it was a little bit of a double entendre
Yeah,
because I wanted to talk about the beauty that really emanates from within when you feel free and unbound.
very nice, very nice. So let's go back to your parents. How long did it take for you to get them to understand this choice of yours? And was it difficult? Did you break their hearts? Because that's a big piece in the Indian culture.
Hmm.
The
Uh,
education and fulfilling those dreams of the parents. And I mean, come on, there's still a lot of people with arranged marriages and whatnot. And that's because of pressure. So talk about that. And this doesn't mean just, when you listen to this answer carefully, because it could apply to anyone who is sitting in the front row seat of your life. Oftentimes, I know people that won't write their books because somebody that hurt them is still alive and they don't want to, you know, talk about the person or hurt them or anything while they're alive. And some people even after. So talk about that. How did you get past it? This is going to break their hearts.
It was definitely a tough thing. I was actually surprised because so I started with the divorce and that I was surprised they were understanding of that. So, my parents had an arranged marriage. My parents were married for 55 years until death did them part. My mother passed away just this year, early this year.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, yeah, it was a definitely a tough thing, but there was so my divorce started it. They were actually understanding about that. So I think that kind
Because
of
that's a no-no
led
too.
me, yeah, that's a no-no. I mean, so that was already an issue, but they understood and they were supportive of that, which I actually was very surprised. So when this happened years later, they were absolutely concerned that have lost my mind, but eventually they started to see what was happening in medicine and, were more supportive. Now, I don't think my dad really understands what I plan to do from here on out. I don't think he understands any of it, but nevertheless, he's actually been pretty supportive of it because I think he also knows that I'm not changing my mind. When I plug forward, I'm doing it. So there's no changing my mind in this moment. So surprisingly, I think overall it went better than I expected it to. It wasn't easy, and I still find myself trying to explain what I'm doing to my father, which he doesn't understand because he comes from that old paradigm where you
Yeah.
go to work and you have a job and you have an employer and you get a paycheck every 2 weeks. And so he does ask me on a regular basis, are you okay? I mean, are you going to be okay? And I tell him, I'm fine. Don't worry about me because he doesn't understand what I'm doing. So it's hard to explain to him. He's 86. So
He's 86. Now, you have 2 sons, very, very hot sons, I might add. They're beautiful boys, they're beautiful men. What about them? How were they initially? Were they supportive? Did they understand? Did they, "Mom, we got your back"? And how has that affected your relationship with them today?
So they were very supportive. My older son is almost 25. So he is he was very supportive about everything from the beginning. We've always had a very unusual relationship because even though I was the authoritarian as a mother and we had that respect, we had a very open relationship where we could talk about a lot of different things. He was actually the one I went to first when I was about to really contemplating the divorce. He's the first one I told.
Wow.
And I said, "So here's the thing. I'm really think I want to get a divorce." And his answer was, "Okay, I could see that you're not happy. And so whatever you need to do, you need to do, but don't stay in this for us."
Wow.
Pretty insightful for a young kid. I think at that point he was probably 19.
Wow.
And so he was already off to college, so that made it a little easier for him. My youngest was about 16, and he said, well, he'll be okay eventually. He may have a harder time with it initially. And he did. I think the things that made it hard were just the going back and forth from one household to the next, moving around. He wasn't used to that. He was used to a stable home. And then I don't think he had as much of a hard time with the actual divorce. It was just how it affected him. The
Mhm,
other thing
mhm.
that was a positive situation for both my children was that my ex-husband and I are very nice to each other. We don't say
Awesome.
derogatory things to each other, about each other. We're very honest in our communication, open, transparent, and that has worked very well. And I think it has been a blessing for our children to come out of this as unscathed as possible.
That's beautiful and encouraging to boot. In your book, I found a little piece that really I just love because I know where you're headed now. And I thought I would just read a little paragraph from the section entitled The Career I Could Never Have. Because we were talking about that. And I showed a little piece of your television work. And in here on page 101, for those of you who are going to grab the book, and I know you're going to because we're going to show you how to do that before we leave today, you said, there's a distinct difference between finding a path to take and entering the freeway of the soul. Love that. In a way, I found my path in life by accident. I was so young, I had no idea of my propensity for science, and I just knew I wanted to help heal someone I loved. The best way to do that in my mind was to become a doctor. My parents' positive reaction, especially my father's, supported my decision. As I thought about my choice, I realized I could potentially help not only my father, but hundreds, maybe thousands of others. I liked that idea. I instinctively knew the path was right, and it made sense in my mind. But, because I could hear everybody go, but, dot, dot, dot. When I saw myself on television, something deeper awakened inside of me. That excitement emanated from my soul. I instinctively felt the change of direction, and the whole experience imprinted on my soul. I didn't know how I could use a medium like television in my future. I just knew I would be good at it, and I had proven it. When I saw myself on television, I glimpsed at the entrance to my soul's freeway. But there it is again. Like most girls, I passed it by because I had already found a path that would please others immensely, please myself to some degree, but mostly please others. I think that passage is just so freaking powerful. So powerful. Um, do you remember when you were looking? Hmm. Hmm. Okay, this is what everybody wants. This is what's going to make more people happy. I can still do this and not that. When you sit there now and you look back at that girl, if you could sit next to her or if she could sit across from you and you could tell her something back when this girl that I just spoke of, what would you say to her now that you didn't know then? Because you knew a little bit then, but you know more now. What would you say?
I would tell her to trust her heart. I think what happened to me over the years in becoming a physician, strangely, medicine, you should have an open heart. Well, the whole process of becoming a doctor, it breaks you. And when it broke me, my heart closed up and I turned into something that I didn't recognize and someone I didn't recognize. And that was impactful. When I looked at myself, I actually didn't like myself. I think that was the hardest thing to admit to myself, that it looked so pretty on the outside with the house, the cars, all those things. And then just to know that inside I didn't actually like myself was pretty traumatic. So I think that that's what I would tell her, to follow your heart, keep it open, and always love yourself.
And while I have you on the screen by yourself, I want you to just look at the camera and speak to that woman, because there are a lot of women who only work or primarily work with women for a plethora of reasons. But I really feel that yours goes a lot deeper than the average. Not to take anything from any other woman specializing with women, but the
Hmm.
fact that the things that you sacrificed were so huge. I
Hmm.
really want you to talk to that woman who is in that situation that is not safe, where she's not celebrated, she's tolerated, where she feels she doesn't have a choice, and she may not even have a high school diploma. She may have 3 kids, like you had 2 kids.
Hmm.
She may have what seems to people on the outside as everything, but still she's feeling like you described you felt. What would you say to her?
I would tell that woman that she always has a choice and she may not realize it. Again, I'm going to go back to the opening of your heart, because when your heart is closed, it's amazing what opportunities don't present themselves, and things, you're shut off from everything, the world, the people around you, because your heart is so closed off. Once you open that heart, something beautiful really happens. People come and they help you, and it's like angels. They just show up out of nowhere. That's what I have experienced the minute my heart went from shut down to open.
Mm,
So that's my best advice.
I
Once your
love that.
heart is open, it's amazing what comes into your life. And I see it, and it's so beautiful every single day. I see it, I feel it. I feel supported by not only the people around me, but the universe. Yes, I had to let a lot of people go because they didn't understand, and I couldn't have them in my life if they weren't going to support my journey. But I've made the decision recently to move to San Diego. So this is a big move. And, you know, other people from the outside looking in may consider it rash, or wow, what are you
A
doing?
real radical thing.
Radical, what are you,
Yeah.
have you completely lost your mind? Do you know, not one person in my world asked me if I'd lost my mind. Not one person. So that tells me I'm with my soul tribe. Everybody is sending me off with a blessing. We still want to have you in our life. Let's visit. Let's make sure we still stay connected. Of course, I'm a master at staying connected to people, so everybody knows that
Yeah.
that's not going to happen. But I love that, as opposed to 5 years ago, where everybody thought I was crazy and losing it and having a midlife crisis. Nobody questions my sanity. Now, I still question it on my own, on the regular, just
We all
because it's
do.
what I
Yeah.
do. We all
Yeah.
do. But I love that nobody else is questioning my sanity. So that's great. It's just me, and I reserve the right to question my sanity on a regular basis.
So do you feel as if, when your true beauty is unbound, it absolutely unequivocally makes it easier to keep reaching for higher diving boards, um, no matter what the temperature of the water below is at the time? You know what I'm saying?
I do. I do. I feel this within me. I feel this amazing faith and trust that I
Mm,
am guided towards my deep and true meaningful purpose that I was supposed to fulfill in this lifetime, that I'm not even scared. I mean, uh, that's a little bit of a lie. I'm most of the time not scared.
right. Well,
but
you wouldn't be human if you weren't a little, every now and then.
But I do say that the distinction is that there used to be fear inside my body, right? And for various reasons. Now, when I have those little bits of fear, it's natural whenever you're going to make a big change in your life. I've been telling my friends, I said, it's the kind of fear that's my head fear, but it's not gut fear. And I can deal with head fear because then I just tell it to shut up for a bit and it goes
Amen.
away.
Yes.
Gut fear is real fear. So we have to know that in our body, that so I've learned to differentiate the two. Didn't know the difference once a long time ago.
Absolutely. I feel the same way. I want to ask you about your experience out in San Diego a few weeks back when we both were at the Red Pill experience with Dr. Mansi Shaw and John Block and all those other wonderful souls that we were there with.
Mhm.
What would you say for you personally speaking was your greatest takeaway? Did anything surprise you about yourself upon leaving that experience that you might not have been aware of going into it?
There were so many amazing moments from that whole experience that we had.
I know.
It's so hard to pick just one, but the people that we met, and you included, just were the most amazing group of people that I've ever met in my life.
I agree.
I think the thing that really stuck with me the most was just, and that surprised me the most was how quickly and easily I was able to connect with all those, everybody there on some level, because ideally we had a group of people who are all connected or in the process of connecting to their soul's purpose.
Mm.
So that made our connection point so much easier. And I would say the other little thing that surprised me was how I just announced in front of the group of people that I'm moving to San Diego.
Yeah, I went. And so you had no idea when you came to San Diego for the event that you might be moving?
I had a suspicion because I have been to San Diego about 6 times in the past year. And I have a really close friend who lives there. And, I love going out there. And every time I went there, I fell in love with it a little bit more.
Mhm.
So when this is my recent stage of Unbound, that I literally put all my things in storage and left my apartment when my lease was up. And I said, that's it. I'm going to go explore and see where I belong because I need to find my soul family. I don't know where that is, but it isn't where I am right now. I knew that, stuffed all my stuff in storage and went. And so I was in San Diego about 3.5 weeks with a clear possibility that it could be where I move. But it was during that retreat where I knew definitely
That
that
was
this
it.
was the thing. Because again, I went looking for my soul family and then I found it. So I said, okay, this feels like home. I'm done.
Right. Now, I find that so interesting because, and this is a big piece because a lot of us, this is why I know that there is, we must acknowledge when we're within sacred space. Because if not, if we don't realize that when we're in there and you're caught up, some people say like she was caught up in the moment, or they feel like they felt this prompting, this beckoning for permanence and change. But then when they go back to back to where they came from, you start hearing it through a different filter. You start seeing it through a different lens. You hear those things whispering to you. What makes you think you're ready for this? How stupid is that? Are you sure you want to do this? And then in whatever amount of time, we've talked ourselves out of it. What was it about this experience that locked it in? Have you questioned that decision at all since originally making it? Or did you feel stuck because you said it to the entire group? Any of that?
Definitely did not feel stuck because I said it to the entire group. It was funny. I was speaking with John the other day, and he said to me, my mom asked me, because John's mother was at the
Yeah,
retreat. He says, my mother asked me about you. And I said, oh, really? What did
I'm
she
a
ask?
block.
He said, did she? Yes. She said, did she actually move to San Diego or is she actually planning to do it? And he said, yes, November 15th, she's moving here. And she was so impressed by that. So, number one, I don't have an ego anymore, really, in the way that I used to. So, if I made a mistake and I said something and didn't feel like it was right, I have no problem renouncing it, that I made a mistake and I feel differently about it now. So, that's the first thing. Secondly, I have not questioned my decision to move to San Diego. It just feels so good, again, in my heart, in my gut, that I have not questioned it. I'm so excited. I wake up every day with just these butterflies in my stomach, and I'm super excited about life, what life is going to bring there. Um, Sometimes the transition makes me a little nervous. I'm not going to lie. It is a big change, but I feel very well supported with the people that I met, with the people that I already know. So I think that that's the thing. We have to get so in tune with what's happening in our body that we understand the differences of what we're feeling. And
Mm,
again, yes, my head chimes in every now and then and says, are you crazy? What are you doing?
yeah,
Blah,
yeah.
blah, blah. And then I say, shut up. I don't want to listen to you. And then my gut's always stable and grounded. That to me is my sign. If that changes, well, then I may have to make a different decision, but it hasn't changed. And
Well,
the retreat was a month ago, so I feel very comfortable.
exactly. And if you make a decision and it doesn't feel right post decision, you can always go back. We can
Absolutely.
always go back. I wanted to ask you one last question about the book because the name says it all. But inside, when you read it, and I really encourage all of you to grab a copy and read it. It was quick. It took me the weekend to get through it. I wanted to ask you though, did you struggle at any part of writing the manuscript? Or and if you did, what would you say was the most difficult chapter for you to write? Because it's such a healing piece. You know, I had a feeling when I was reading it that you knew going into it, I'm going to write about this and this and the divorce and this and this. But then you came to certain sections and you just stared at it for a minute. I could almost feel it when I was reading it. Like she had to stop here for a minute because she was like, wait a minute. Do you understand what I'm asking? So what would you
Yes.
say out of all that's in here? I have an idea. I'm going to put a little mark right by it. Where'd she go? Oh, is that me or you? Okay, hold on here, you guys. I don't know if it's me or her. Let me get her back. Oh, did you get a phone call? Okay, she'll probably have to. Okay, that wasn't me. I thought it was me. Okay, so she dropped off. She probably got a phone call. She's on her phone. Hopefully, she'll come back. Or everybody woke up at the hotel she's at, and now the internet's all crappy. I'm gonna put a mark though, because I know she'll be back. I have a feeling about the most challenging part for her to write. And man, I got to know this. She'll be back. While we're waiting on Dr. Kalpana to come back, we're going to give it 1 minute. She's back. And in the meantime, get ready because I have that big question coming as we wrap up this hour with the wonderful Dr. Kalpana Sundar. We'll be right back.
My name is Dr. Kent Mercado, and I'm running for Congress. For the past 25 years, I've served the 11th District as a physician, an attorney, and a humanitarian. I'm running for Congress to have a larger impact and to bring your voice to Washington. I've visited every county in the district, and I've met with thousands of people, listening and learning from them about their concerns. I found that family values and kitchen table issues are what's most important. So we need to reignite the economy, improve our educational system, ensure the safety of our communities, provide access to affordable physical and mental health care, and of course, support our farmers. I'm Dr. Kent Mercado, and I'm running for Congress to be your voice. Together, we can make sustainable solutions for our nation.
Welcome back to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Dr. Lauren, and Dr. Kalpana is back as promised. And my friend Kent right there, he's a good friend of mine, lives here. He's a doctor and a lawyer.
Oh, wow.
I know. And now he's going to go do something because, we were actually, I brought you up to him not long ago. He brought some signs by, put in the yard. And I was like, yeah. He goes, people think I'm crazy. Because he's, so there it is. So back to my question before we went to break, which you have all these chapters, these wonderful chapters in the book. Was there one that stood out to you that was a real challenge of more difficult than all the others to get through, and why?
So I would say it was the one about my divorce was probably the hardest one. And it was because I needed to express that we weren't a good fit for each other without saying it in a way that people would misunderstand what I was saying. That's such a common thing because I think that many people start with a preconceived idea that, oh, if they're getting a divorce, they must absolutely can't stand each other, et cetera, et cetera. This
Yeah.
must have happened. We start with so many preconceived ideas. I wanted to make sure that I put that chapter in the most delicate way possible to explain what happened without pointing fingers or creating blame on anybody's part, that it just was something that its time was over.
Wow. Do you feel that how much healing, um, I know that's how do you quantify that? I don't think it's possible. But do you feel that you were originally received a download to do this book so you could heal and then help others would be able to heal through it? Because it felt very, and I'm a man reading it, and there were some times in there I felt like, yep, she wrote this for women. But I also felt it was for me because of the healing component. And I really didn't expect to leave this experience with that, but nonetheless, I did. So, what are you hearing from people that have read the book? What are they saying it did for them?
I would say that much of what you said, that it was healing for them, that it was very relatable. Many people have told me how much they appreciated how raw and vulnerable I was
Yes.
in the book, and I
Yes.
think that's a lot of what I wanted to do. I wanted to tell my story in a very raw and vulnerable way and put myself out there so that women understood that they weren't the only ones going through the things that they're going through or having the feelings that they were having. I'm actually here with a friend of mine in Atlanta, and she said the same thing to me last night. She said, "You know what? I sometimes just feel like I'm the only one having this experience. And then I'll go back to your book and I remember, yes, you had a similar experience too." And I
That's
love that.
that's right. And to pick up the copy, Barnes and Noble and also Amazon.com to pick up your copy. And what do they find when they come to the website that's on the screen? What's there? What's there waiting?
So that's my website and really has all my speaking engagements. Eventually, there's going to be items about my retreats that I'm putting together. So that's all in progress. But basically gives you an idea of who I am, what I've done, what I do, blogs, and things that may be informational for people.
Perfect. Hey, you guys, we have just taken the liberty of dropping Dr. Kalpana Sundar's information. This link is now in your comment section for easy access. We are out of time. November 15th is the big day. Congratulations and blessings to you. I can't wait to see you again. I hope it is sooner than later. And thank you so much for gifting the book. I was very excited when it came in the mail, and I was even more excited about life after reading what came in the mail. So I thank you for that. Excuse me. I want all of you to get over and read the reviews on Amazon. I'll be leaving mine today. And in the meantime, just reach out, get to know this lady. You'll be glad you did. Any final thoughts before we get out, Doctor?
Only that I'm just feel blessed and grateful to have met you. You're truly an inspirational person, and it's a pleasure to be here today.
I agree. I agree that it's a pleasure to be here. Not that you know what I mean. Listen, I can't wait to see what you do in the future, and I can't wait till we see you on television because I know it's coming. I know it's coming. Listen, all of you out there tomorrow, come on back. Stephanie Zito is in the house. Another RPXP experience on the way. But in the meantime, get out today. Do whatever you need to do to find just a little piece of your highest self. I guarantee you'll be glad you did. And I, God willing, promise to meet you tomorrow, God willing, right over there on the front porch for another episode where together we create a divine moment in time. And always, as always, rather, in closing, I say, I love. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it. I'll see you tomorrow. Have the best day ever. Thank you, Dr. Kalpana. Thank you so much. Great job. Bye, everybody.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Oh, I'm standing right here holding up a sign.